Hi, this is Zak Mir with the US Chartbreakers here at Zak's Traders Cafe for Friday, the 12th of July. Starting off with the S&P, which obviously is backed off from the record highs, but still, while we're above the recent resistance, 55.10.20, looking for the top of that channel as high as 5800, maybe by the end of next month. Worst case scenario at the moment is we've got to go down to the floor of the last gap there, around 53.80, and the floor of the rising trend channel, along with the 50-day moving average. But at the moment, it looks as though 55.20 should cover any pullbacks. The Nasdaq 100 is next, and here it was all about the 20,000 area, and we're staying above that. The old resistance there just below that, the old June resistance around 19,900, and ideally we stay above the floor of that rising trend channel from back in April, but it looks as though probably we will need another test of 19,900, given that the media are trying to scare people out of tech stocks. Top of the channel there, 21,500, but only looking for that while we remain on the right side of 19,900 at the moment. You can also see that we've had higher highs for July, but a lower RSI trace, and that bearish divergence may be a warning that at least a near-term top is in place for this particular market. Moving on to the stocks, and Bullfrog is first. Here you can see that we've got the shares attempting to break that falling wedge in place since January. The line there, basically yesterday's close, $2.20. Above that, we're looking for the top of that triangle there from back in April as high as $3.40 by way of the 50-day line, currently $2.52. It's supposed to be a cautious. You wait for an end-of-day close above that rather than $2.20. On to an interesting situation in the form of Singe or Sinjien, and here you can see that we've had an attempt to break out of this falling wedge, which has been in place basically since the beginning of May. It's also a bear trap island reversal, so gapping down then gapping up, which tends to be one of the best charting situations or setups around. We've got bullish divergence as well in the RSI window, so lows for July, but higher RSI trace. So looking for this line there from back in May at $7, call it $7.50 to break on an end-of-day close basis and take us up to as high as $18 by the end of next month. The worst case scenario at this stage is that we just basically retest the 50-day line and go a bit higher than that, so up to about $9 plus, but even that would be a decent return from current levels. Moving on to Cryoport, and here another falling wedge situation, bullish divergence as well, so lower lows for July but higher RSI trace. Looking for the top of that wedge, $7.50 initially. Above that, looking for, I suppose, the 50-day line there around $10 by the end of next month. An interesting setup coming up next at IGM, and here you can see that we basically had a retest of the April support there around $6.40, bounced quite sharply after that, and looking to break that resistance line there from February, $9.60. Above that, looking for $12 by the end of next month. The key here, staying above that 50-day line at $8.35. Next up on the list is, one of the biggest rises of yesterday, Locafi, and here you can see that the shares have bubbled up and basically filled the gap there from back in April, and also taken out all the resistance from basically this year. Ideally, if there's any retracement, any further retracement, it won't be anything lower than the top of that gap there from back in April, $4.80, let's call it, and above that, but then we can have a retest of the $10 area over coming weeks. Moving on to a method, and here we've got a gap through bear trap gap reversal through the 50-day moving average. That's at $11. Above that, we're looking for that resistance line there from December, $17.60 by the end of this month, or hopefully much sooner than that. Ideally, we stay on the right side of recent resistance through $12.50. QuantumScape is next, and here a gap, massive gap to the upside, taking out all recent resistance. So basically anything above $6.50 is a bonus here. While there's no end of day close back below $6.50, we're looking for the top of that broadening triangle from December as high as $8.50 over the course of the rest of July. The next stock is Rumble On, and here you can see another falling wedge situation, little bear trap reversal, bear trap gap reversal there from below $3.80, and while we remain above $3.80, looking at $5.70 at the top of that falling wedge, or in other words, the triangle. Moving on to Sight and Sight Sciences. Here we've got a bounce off the rising trend channel there from back in September, October last year. Looking for the top of that channel there as high as $10 by the end of this month, while we remain above recent neckline resistance, $6.70. So nice little setup there. Troops is next, and here after a bit of a wobble, actually backing off from the top of that triangle at $3.60. We're having another go now. Ideally, we stay above the previous day's resistance there, around $2.50, and ahead of that on an end-of-day close, looking for $3.60 over the next week or so. On to the last two. First one is Vast Renewables, and here bounce off the floor of that rising trend channel base. Want to see another end-of-day close, or a decent end-of-day close above the 50-day line, $2.87 if we can get that. We are hoping for up to $7.70 by the end of next month, so we echo the rally that we had at the beginning of June. Last one on the list is Werewolf, and here bounce off this the floor of this falling trend channel there. Recent neckline resistance around $2.30. Above that, looking for the next level on the way down, which was $3.50, and hoping for that over the next week or two. We're backed by a multi-tested RSI support on that June line, so hopefully there will be some decent momentum here up towards the 50-day moving average. That's it for me today. More updates next week.